Guruji ki fateh. So, running with the theme of the camp, obviously being Sadhe 300 Sala of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji. So the camp kind of theme is Path Sahi Dasmi. And as part of that, the talk title that I was given was The Way of a Khalsa. I don't know if you got packs this year. Have you got packs this year? Anyway, the talk title I was given was The Way of the Khalsa. And also this year is the 40th year since the passing of since Sant Gyani Kartar Singh Ji Khalsa Pindrawale passed away. And thinking of the two, I thought, well, you know, to do the talk, I thought if we want to know how to be a true Khalsa, why not look at a role model of someone who was a true Khalsa in recent history? Because they only passed away 40 years ago. Some people would have been alive then that are in the room, some may not have. So it's not like a long time ago. And the reason why I thought that is because a lot of people question, well, Sikhis changed, or the kind of Sakyan we hear about Gurmukhs who were so great back at Guru Sahibji's times or just after Guru Sahibji's times, that those kind of Gurmukhs don't exist anymore. And from their Jeevan, hopefully we can take some teachings. And another thing we can understand these Jeevan is that they weren't different to kind of us in the sense of what they did in terms of their worldly pride. They were very educated to go to university, and we're going to look at all of these things. But as well as doing all of that is how they kept Sikhi at the front, and they kept Guruji and that praying for Guruji always at the front. And that's what we're going to hopefully get from the talk of how they command Sikhi and were a true Khalsa. And then from that, hopefully you can take something. And this talk isn't to say that you have to all say that they're the best ever, or the talk is also going to talk about Sant and what the word Sant means. And the reason for that is because there's so many negative connotations around, kind of so much negativity associated with the word Sant these days. You know, I just wanted to go through it a little bit and clear up some misconceptions, because we may hear a lot these days that no one who is a human can be called a Sant, or there's no such thing as a Sant. And if someone's called a Sant, then that's Manamat. But that's quite far from the truth, and that's what we're also going to look at. So it's going to be, we're going to dissect it from there and then go on to Santji's Jeevan. So we're going to start off with kind of thinking of what a Sant is. So who does Guru Granth Sahib Ji call a Sant? So again, we hear this word Sant and it tends to have a lot of negativity around it. And people say, well, if someone's a Sant, that means they're a Pakhandi. But if anything, whenever we've got a question, we've got to see what does Guru Sahib Ji say. Because if Guru Sahib Ji is our everything, and for a Khalsa, for a Gursikh, Guru Sahib Ji is everything. So what does Guru Sahib Ji say about the word Sant, who a Sant is? And in Gurbani, at different places, Sant has different meanings, or it refers to different people, and that's what we're going to look at. And this is widely accepted by scholars and always had been. Recently, it's become more of a kind of controversial topic. But even Bhai Sahib and Tir Singh, they've written a pustak, and it's called Sant Pad Nirne. And in that, it talks about, and that's what I looked at when I was writing this, when I was looking at this talk. In that, they talk about how at different points, Sant is used referring to different. To mean something different, and they kind of split it into two main purposes or meanings of the word Sant, and the first being referring to a Akal Purkh Vaheguru, and the second being to a Gurmukh. And they've given loads of examples of different panktiyan where the word Sant comes and what it means and the context of that and what that Sant is like. So I've picked some of those to share with you to who Satguru Sahib Ji calls a Sant. So Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And why is Akal Purkh Vaheguru known as a Sant? Because Samay Ant Par Hot Sahai Tate Sankhya Sant Patai, that when someone comes to their Ant Sama and they die basically, that person who is there as a Sahara, as support, which is Akal Purkh Vaheguru, that person is known to be a Sant. Tate Sankhya Sant Patai, that person is known to be a Sant. The second person or second meaning of Sant is for a complete Brahmgyani. And Sadguru Sahib Ji says, Jina saas giras na visre har nama man mant, tan se nanaka puran soi Sant. That person, Jina saas giras. Now saas giras means with anything they inhale, exhale, Jina saas giras na visre, they don't forget who Harnama Manamant, the name of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And then Sadguru Sahib Ji says, Tan se nanaka, those Gursikhs Atanta jog, that they are great, that Guru Sahib is doing praise of them. Puran soi sant, they are a Puran sant. So a complete sant is that person who does not visar akal par Waheguru with any breath. And as we look through the Jivan of Sant Gyani Kartar Singh, these, from number 2 through to number 6, the reasons or the ways that the word Sant is used, they embody all of that. Obviously, they don't for the first one, because that's where Akal Purakh Waheguru da Vachak Sant is. But for a complete Brahm Gyani, because as we look at the Jivan, how much Kamai they did, how much Prem they had for Satguru Sahib Ji, how much they put in terms of Prema Bhakti, and that's obviously what they got out. And that's why, to this day, people remember them. And then you've got Gurmukhs. Gurmukhs are referred to as Sant as well. Santo ho, har arad ho, har arad sabbo ki shapaiye karj sagle sadh ho. That Satguru Sahib Ji refers to Gurmukhs, and they say to the Gurmukhs that the Gurmukhs jap the name of Akal Purakh Waheguru Har, and Satguru Sahib Ji gives the hukum. And when we are sat in Satguru Sahib Ji's sanctuary, when we're sat in the Sangat, Satguru Sahib Ji refers to us as Gurmukhs, as those Sants, because they're referring to us. Because a Sant, for that time when you're doing Bhakti, you have, if you focus your mind completely, only the person themselves know if they are, but if your mind's focused and it's only focused on Akal Purakh Waheguru, for that time period, you are a Santa, because your full concentration is in Akal Purakh Waheguru. But it doesn't mean that you're going to go out and start saying, well, I was a Santa for 3 minutes there. It's just that for that time period, you're doing the kind of things that Satguru Sahib Ji described as Santa does. But an actual Santa is the one there that with every single inhale, exhale. So we might do it for 5 minutes. I don't think I can do it for a minute, really. Even when I sit in Sangat, all I do is like look around and think what's next and what time's it going to finish, because my legs are hurting and stuff. But if you concentrate, you are controlling that focus. And Satguru Sahib Ji says that those people, those Gurmukhs, are Sant as well. So that's the second kind of, for a human way of using the word Sant. And then obviously you've got Akal Purakh Waheguru. The fourth one is a Sant, is someone who speaks the truth. And this is a massive one that's going to be in Sant Gyani Kartar Singh's Jivan as we look for it, that they always spoke the truth, regardless of what consequence might come, regardless of what situation, and regardless of who they were speaking the truth about and to and where they were. And Satguru Sahib Ji says, Santan ki sona sachi sakhi so bole jo pekhe akhi. That a Sant is that person that whatever they see, they say that. So if they see that something wrong is happening in the world, a true Sant will speak up. If some injustice is happening, a Khalsa will always stand up. Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji, when they gave us this very distinct, look through our Pehrava, through our Kakars, and through this Roop, through giving their own Sroop, Satguru Sahib Ji meant us to stand up against injustice. When Guru Sahib Ji said that one Khalsa will stand out in a crowd of hundreds of thousands, not only necessarily was it because of the way they look, yes, they will look different, but there are others who look not too different to us. If we think about all the things that are happening these days with terrorist attacks, people confuse us with Muslim, don't they? But what is the difference? How will they be able to tell? Is not just from the outside Pehrava, it's from what a Khalsa is. And a Khalsa is that person, if there's hundreds of thousands of people, something wrong is going on, that Khalsa will stand up and speak against it. That is another way of pashaning that is a true Khalsa. Because to this day, there's loads of examples where you can think that there may have been someone who had the Barlas route, but they still hid. But a true Khalsa is complete outside and inside. Both are just as important. It's like a bird. Both wings are needed to fly. But a Khalsa will stand up and speak the truth. And in that way, Sant Gyani Kartar Singh were a speaker of the truth. They embodied that quality. And then those who commit pure actions, everything they do is pure. They do not do anything impure. And Satguru Sahib Ji says, Saad naam nirmal taake karam. The word Saad and Sant are interchangeable, and we'll see that in a bit. And Satguru Sahib Ji says that Saad naam, that person is a Saad whose karam, nirmal taake karam. Their karam meaning actions, are nirmal. They are mal to red. Everything they do is completely pure. That person is a Sant, Satguru Sahib Ji says. And we will see through the life of Sant Gyani Kartar Singh how they committed so many pure karam, what they did for the pala of the Panth, and what they did for the pala of the people at that time. And then the last one, Pag, so Sant Prahlad ki paj jin rakhi harnak nak bidareo. Sadhguru Sahib Ji refers to Bhagat. Bhagat Prahlad Ji is a Sant. And again, Sant Gyani Kartar Singh spent all their life doing Bhakti. And Bhakti can be done in many forms. There's no prakar di Bhakti, and it can be through Kirtan, it can be through Katha, it can be through sitting in a Samadhi. There's many different types of Bhakti that can be done, and they did that, Sant Ji did in their life. So what is the Sant? What are they and what's their purpose? That's what we're going to go into next. So a Sant is an avatar, and in some of the Panktiya that I'm going to put up are from different Vedanta Granths, and I've just kept it open as just Vedanta. So when I say Vedanta, basically Vedanta is like philosophical kind of teachings that are written, but a lot of them can't mail with Satguru Sahib Ji. And when Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji in the Bhavanja Hukam say that we should read other dharmic Granths, we should also Veda our knowledge in loads of different areas, and things that link in with Gurmat, we can use them. These are from other dharms. These are kind of from Katha Granths that you learn when you're learning Katha. So Avatara Kati Avatara, someone who comes to save the world at a certain time from hardships and has certain duties. They may not come and save the whole world, because that's the job of Akala Purakh Waheguru for the form of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, but they come at a specific time for certain reasons, and they come to take humans out of hardship. That is what an avatar is, and a Sant is an avatar. And I just got told this morning actually that one of the Panjis in their talk go over the avatar, so you may have heard this already. The 6 different types of avatar, Ansa, Avesha, Kala, Nit, Nimit, Puran. So they're the 6 types of avatar. You've got Ansa, who are kings. You've got Avesha, who obtain power through Japatap, and then they help people. Then you've got Kala avatar. They have spiritual powers already before they come into the world. They come to the world with those powers to help people or do certain duties. You've got a Nit avatar. In Nit avatar, a Nit avatar is Sant Mahapurush. And what they come to do, they come to chala the Maryada or certain Maryada of Akala Purakh Waheguru and help people. And then you've got a Nimit avatar. They come to this world for a very specific cause, and then they leave. For example, Narsingh, who came specifically to kill Harnakas. And basically the Saki there was Harnakas, who was the father of Bhagat Prahlad Ji. He was a king. He was keeping everyone in his parja, everyone that was living underneath him. He was making them worship him. His own son, Bhagat Prahlad Ji, was doing Bhakti of Ram, of Akala Purakh Waheguru, and he didn't like that, and he told him to stop, but he didn't. And then he tortured him loads, and he tried to kill Bhagat Prahlad Ji, but Bhagat Prahlad Ji was saved by Akala Purakh Waheguru, and that is described at the start of Rehras, that Shant, and it comes in Asadivar as well. So in the Guru Kar, we remember that twice a day. Har Jog Jog Bhagat, Upaya Paj Rakhda Aya Ram Raje, Har Nakas Dust, Har Marya, Prahlad Taraya. The Har Nakas Dust, Akala Purakh Waheguru, Har took the form of Narsingha as a Nimit avatar and killed Harnakas and saved the Lad, saved the Ijjat of Bhagat Prahlad Ji. So that is a Nimit avatar. And then you have a Puran avatar, who Ramchandra and Krishna was said to be 14 Kala and 16 Kara Puran. But Guru Sahib Ji is outside of that system, because Guru Sahib Ji is the creator of the system. And if you create something, you are not in that. So I gave this example yesterday as well. If I make a model of the world, and I'm not saying I'm God, I'm just imagine a model, not the real world, but I make a model of the world. I'm outside of that, I'm not in it because I've made it. I'm separate from that, but I made it. And that's what Satguru Sahib Ji is like, Akala Purakh Waheguru. They made the whole system. They are not part of the system. They are outside of the system. When they want, they are in the system. They can do whatever they want. They have got no kind of constraints to what they can and can't do. So Satguru Sahib Ji is outside of the system of avatars, and a Sant is a Nit avatar. And I kind of given away what my next question was going to be on my slide, and I've done this every single time I've done the talk. So, not this, the next slide, so you might forget by then. Sad, so different names for Nit avatar. So you got Sad, Sant, Baba, Gurmukh, Sikh, Das, Sevak, Mahapurakh, Bhagat, and Jan. These are all used within Gurbani, and they refer to what we are calling a Sant. Now, again, we have allergy from these kind of names sometimes, and people say, well, you can't call me a Sant and you can't call me a Baba, and they say, well, just call me a Das. Well, a true Das is the same as a true Sant. It's just people, it's just words. Asalvich, Sikhi, is so deep, it's like an ocean, but truthfully, that ocean is just Naam. So it doesn't matter what title you give someone, what title someone has, it's about their karni. if someone is puran on their karni, it doesn't matter what you call them, they have that bakshish. And if someone isn't, just by calling them a sant, will not make them a sant. For example, if I started to say I'm the Prime Minister of this country, it doesn't mean I'm the Prime Minister. You could all start calling me Prime Minister. Does it mean that I'm the Prime Minister? Because I haven't done the things that the Prime Minister does. I haven't got to that position yet. Well, I'm never going to. Don't worry, I'm not running in the elections. So I haven't got to that position, though. So even if I call myself it, it doesn't mean anything, does it? In the same way, we sometimes get doubt, and it is true that there are a lot of fake people who call themselves Sant or Baba or whatever they call themselves. But that doesn't mean because there's bad, there isn't good. For there to be bad, there has to be good. For there to be fake Sants, there has to be real Sants. We can't just say that there's fake Sants and then there's no Sants. For there to be something, a nakli of something, there has to be an asli. And the asli are few and far between. And that's just the way of the world. That Kaljug Sama is so bhayanak that it's very difficult to find a true Sant. But they do exist. And just because there are some fakes doesn't mean that we should be put off from that. At the same time, though, this talk is not telling you to go out there and specifically look for a Sant. If that is something that you do or you've got a Mahapurush that you go to, that's absolutely fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't go either, but I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that you have to go and find someone to go Matha. We've got Satguru Sahib. What a Sant is, and we'll look in a bit, they have a specific duty and that can help. And if you are in need of that help, Satguru Sahib will malay you themselves. You don't need to worry about going out and actively looking for one. And this is my honest, firm belief. And Satguru Sahib says that everyone on the rasta that they are on, Satguru Sahib ji aap rasta te lava dende. All we do is go to Satguru Sahib ji, do an ardas beinti that I want Gursikhi. And whatever we need to get that Gursikhi, if that means we need the sangat of a sant, we'll get that. If that means we just need specific sangat within our family unit, if we need specific sangat within our wider community where we live, in the town we live in, you will get that sangat to what you want to get to. So I'm not advocating that you have to go out and find a sant, but at the same time, I am saying that they are very special and they can really aid you. And I've given away, again, a bit more of my answer for the next question. I really need to stop doing this. So, the question. For what purpose do sants come on this earth? Very quickly, 30 seconds, because I've given you an answer a couple of times. Discuss with the person next to you. You can talk. Off you go. What are you saying, Jazzy? I'm mic'd up. I'm mic'd up and I just said, what are you saying, Jazzy? So, if you just stop there, I know it's quite short, but so anyone want to share any ideas? Yep.
To do a certain type of seva duty.
Yeah, so they might come for specific seva, and different sants come for different sevas. And another thing people might ask sometimes, just to link onto that, is that sants, different sants are totally different. So some follow one Maryada, and one follows another Maryada, and one does one thing, and one. How can they all be the same? The reason why they can all be sant is because Akal Purakh Waheguru is Bayant. Their Sikhi is Bayant, and their roots through Sikhi to get them are also Bayant. Yes, the mool is the same in terms of we take Amrit, we have Panch Kagar Rat. If someone's taking you away from that, they're taking you away from the Guru. But the main thing is, are they joining you with the Guru? And Gursikhi is Bayant. So in the same way, they may have a specific seva to do certain things to Jod someone. Yeah, anyone else? Yep, Badi.
Saying right? So someone who comes to like help me.
Yes, so someone who comes to help me Maharaj, that is maybe the person, or that is one of the purposes of a sant. And that nice little prison picture does have a purpose. So, for what purpose do sants come to this world? Now, if we imagine this whole world is a prison, and this is, in a way, it's kind of a reality, and you should hopefully be able to link in with this analogy. This whole world is a prison. And within a prison, you have loads of different cells, don't you? So you've got loads of different prison cells, different rooms. And all of us, our bodies, our physical bodies, so we're splitting the kind of physical material matter of our bodies with our Atma here for this example. So that physical matter of our body, that is a room, that is a cell. And inside of each cell is a prisoner, isn't it, in a normal prison. Inside of our cell, our matter, our body, this room, is a prisoner, is our soul which is imprisoned. And it is imprisoned because we can't just stop being. We're living now, so that soul is here for now. And that soul is here dependent upon the karams that we've done in past lives. So a prisoner goes to prison depending on their crime. If a prisoner has committed a certain crime, they will go to a certain type of prison as well. So like in England, we've got 4 different categories of prisons, haven't we? And if you've done a really severe crime, or what the Sarkar sees as a severe crime, you go to a Cat A prison. But you might end up in a Cat D prison if you've done something a little bit less. So depending on the crime, the prisoner is given the sentence. Depending on our crimes, our karams in previous lives, that depends on what we are getting in this life. So the treatment we're getting in prison, what this body is getting, depends on the crimes, the karams that we have done. And I'm not saying doing a karam is a crime, but it's just for the analogy. So doing those different crimes has brought us to the position we're in. So sometimes we get, we might get upset that why are certain things happening to me and why does someone else seem to always get the good thing? And you might even think after this that why haven't I met a sant, or why haven't I done this? But everything happens for a reason, and it's all with your karam. Maybe you don't need to. Maybe there's a different path to you. And Satguru Sahib Ji looks after all of us in different ways. So the karam, depending on the crimes that we've committed, that depends on what treatment we are getting. And then further to that then, what is the role of this sant? In a prison, if you imagine like a doctor or a psychologist, whatever it is, someone coming in to help the prisoners, they are free within that prison, aren't they? They can roam around, they'll have a key, they can access each cell. As they access the cells, they do their thing, they help people. They give out medicine, they may give out advice, they may speak to people. But they'll try to help them in whatever way they can and meet their needs whilst that person is in prison. But at the end of the day, that doctor can leave, can't he? No one can stop the doctor from leaving because he hasn't got a sentence. He's free from crime. He hasn't committed any crime. The rest of the prisoners are in prison, and the aim, the purpose of prison is to try and kind of make that person a better citizen, to reform them and then reintegrate them into society. That is the purpose of prison. It's supposed to be anyway. And that doctor goes into that prison free from any crime. He helps the people and he leaves. In that same way, a sant is free from karam. They are outside of the karam system. They are free from any crime. They are in this prison, which is the world, to help people. And they help people and they give people medicine. And that's why maybe different sants have different duties, or it is the reason why they do, because different people need different medicine. At the moment, I've got tonsillitis. I'm taking medicine for tonsillitis. If I started taking medicine for a different bamari, I'm not going to get better, am I? So the doctor gave me what I needed. In the same way, different sants give the person what they need. Ultimately, what they need and what we all need is to jap naam. It's just different tariqe to jod the person into japping naam. That's all it is. That's why there's different ones, because different people fit into different systems of how to do that. But ultimately, it's all about japping naam. That's the only way we're going to get free. That is the medicine. And the sant is just the doctor. Maharaj has given us that Bhai. The sant passes it on. Just like that doctor goes into prison and passes on the medicines.
Sorry, can I say something? You said a doctor gives you what you need. In the same way a sant gives you what you need. And that's the major difference, isn't it, really, between a true sant and a fake?
Yeah.
A fake one will give you what you want.
Yeah.
You know, what you kind of desire on wood level, not what you need.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so thanks. So they will give you exactly that. They'll give you what you need to develop on this journey of Sikhi. And the key again, and I'll say it again, that the park of a true sant is that they are joining you with Satguru Sahib Ji. Everything is Guru orientated. Nothing's about them. A true sant will never ever allow you to do their own ustati. And they will always join you back with Guru Sahib Ji. So they come and they give you that medicine, and the sant's job is to give the medication to get people to jap naam. And again, when we look at the Jivan of Sant Gyani Kartar Singh, and that's what we're going to do a little bit later, is that's what they did. They came to this world to get people to jap naam, to take Amrit and follow Gursikhi and be strong in their earth. And that's what Sants do. They come into this world They roam around freely. They're in no bandish. They're outside of the crime system. They've committed no crime. But they try to help us to reintegrate. What are we reintegrating back into? Just like a prisoner reforms themselves and reintegrate back into society, our soul, which is the prisoner, needs to reform itself. It's a bad soul, or I don't want to say bad, but it's not reformed fully. That's why it's in a life. We reform it by following Sikhi, and then we are able to reintegrate back into Akal Purakh Waheguru. We are able to join again, and once we join back into society, just like a prisoner, once they're set free, if they don't commit another crime, you can't put them back in prison for no reason. Once we join back into Akal Purakh Waheguru as a truly reformed soul, no one can take us out again. So that is what a Sant does, and that is how they help us. That's the purpose of a Sant coming. So what about Sants and Karam then? I've said that they're free of Karam. How are they free of Karam? Because they still do Karam. Karam literally just means action. We all do actions. A Sant does action. Just walking is an action. And a Sant on this world commits actions. So what happens with them? That the different types of Karam, for Atam Gyani, for a Brahm Gyani, for a Sant, they all get washed away. The Kiryaman Karam, and again, if we go into really deep of all the Karam, that's a separate talk. So I'm going to go over them a little bit. Hopefully you'll be able to pick it up. If you don't fully understand it, I can explain afterwards. But I'll try to go over it. Kiryaman Karam is what we do daily. So every deed we do is a Kiryaman Karam. It's what you are currently doing. So we're all sat here now. That's a Karam. I'm talking, that's a Karam. Then you've got Paralabd Karam. Paralabd Karam are the ones that come with you when you are born. Sadhguru Sahib, Akal Purakh Waheguru, the system works where it sends certain things with you. And you have to live those out in your life. So that might be, well, it is stuff like who your parents are, who you're going to get married to, kind of the big things in your life. No, it's not everything. Not every single thing is predestined and preordained, because we do have free will as well. There's a balance of the two. And then Sanchat Karam is the collection of all your Karam. So all this Kiryaman Karam we are doing, that gets collected into a bowl, imagine, outside this world. Every time we take another life, that some get sent with us in our Paralabd. But until that Sanchat is cleaned and totally finished, we have to keep coming back. But it's very difficult because you can't do much about the Sanchat whilst you're living. You can wash away some, but we've been through so many life forms, you don't know how many million, or 8.4 million, we don't know how many specific, our soul may have been through a few of them more than once, so it could have been through don't know how many millions of lives. So there's so much Karam built up there, and how do you wash that all away? And a Sant is free from all of that, because the Kiryaman Karam, the Karam that they are currently doing, they are taken by the Sevaks, the Sevadars that do their Seva, they take their Kiryaman Karam. And that's good for them, because a Sant only does Pala Karam, Saad Naam Take Nirmal Karam. They only do Mel Toret Karam, so taking that Karam for whoever does their Seva is a Pala thing. They get good deeds from doing their Seva, and they're doing Seva anyway, so it's a good deed. Then their Paralabd Karam, the ones that came with them into this life, those are lived out, just like they would be for anyone else. And their Sanchat Karam, that bowl, that collection, that is wiped away, that is burnt away with the fire of Brahm Gyan. And Sadhguru Sahib in Gurbani says, Gyan pe aata hai karm mein naas. That once that person gets complete Gyan of Akal Purakh Waheguru, their whole karam, all those crimes, if we want to call it that, if we're using the analogy of the prisoner, they're all washed away. They're wiped, they've got no crimes, they're free of karam. Therefore, they are outside of this karam system. So a Mahapurush is outside of that system of karam. And that is how that works. And then what is the path of a Sant? What is the path? What path do they go on? And Sadhguru Sahib says there's 7 main stages of a Sant. You can break them down into more brief. I'm going to go over them a little bit quick. Again, there's stuff on the YouTube channel that covers this. It's been done in previous talks and kathas. Also comes in the Japji Sahib katha. And I'm not just saying that to try and plug the YouTube channel. It's just in case you wanted further information about it. So Sant ka marg dharam ki paudi ko vadapagi pae. the first step, the first pauri on this marg of a sant, this path of a sant, is sub-icha. That is to have the right icha, literally is what it translates to shub, meaning true or rightful, and icha meaning desire. And true icha, desire, the right icha that we should have is seva bhavana, a desire to do selfless deeds. Even if we jap pranam, we do it selflessly because we've got love for Akal Purakh Vaheguru. That vichar, having that icha in your mind. The second one is shub vicharna. So once you start to have this icha, you have deeper reflections on that, and you do vichar on it, of how am I going to do that, and you start thinking about it a little bit deeper. Then you got tanumansa. So you start to be able to control the mind's desires, and thoughts become faint and easier to control. Now sometimes we might think, well, why do we have to control the panchachor or these desires? Now all the desires that come into our mind are driven by the panchachor because they make us, they try to keep us away from everything. That's why they're called chor. What do they do chori of? They do chori of your man. That's the biggest thing that they take away from us, is our mind. They take control of our mind by putting in desires. Why is it bad to have different types of desires? So in Vedanta it says, Kam barobar byad nahi. Having a kami thought, it says there's no disease that is as bad as that. So there's no physical disease that a person can have. And you think about all the different diseases that exist, stuff like cancer that eats away at every cell of your body. There's nothing that's as bad as having a kami thought for your atma. That's why it's important to get to this stage where we can wash away desires. But it's very difficult to get there. Because just to get onto the first path, the first step, and always have shub icha is very hard. But at Tanuman, so you get rid of your desires. Satarna moh saman. There's no sat, there's no kind of punishment as bad as that of attachment. An agar nahi krodh sam. There's no fire that burns as much or will burn you as much as that of krodh, of anger. Sukh nasman gyan. There's no sukh, there's no peace as great as that. There's nothing that you can even mention that's as peaceful as getting gyan of Akal Purakh Vaheguru. And that's why the desires become faint, because they start to get gyan. They haven't got complete gyan at this stage, but they start to gain some gyan of Akal Purakh Vaheguru. So the desires that we have, the panchachor, start to become shant, they start to ease off a little bit. Then at Sattva, the fourth stage, you get a growing concentration inwards, and you realize that Akal Purakh Vaheguru is creation and they created everything. And we might think we do that anyway, but you really understand that. You start to really think that everything is Akal Purakh Vaheguru's. And that is then reflected in the way that they behave and the way that they are. And then the fifth one is asanksakat, which is they move past ego and attachment from the world, and they start to see the world as a supana. It's all just a dream. The sixth one is padartha pavani. So apart from Akal Purakh Vaheguru, they don't feel and they don't want any worldly experience. They don't want to do anything else apart from experience Akal Purakh Vaheguru. So earlier, the desires start to kill off. Now with the actions as well, all they want to do is be engrossed with the name of Akal Purakh Vaheguru. There's no other action that they want to do. There's no other action that they want to commit. They just want to be involved, constantly engrossed in Akal Purakh Vaheguru's name. And then the last one is Turiyavastha, which is when the form is truly realized. When you reach that true form of Akal Purakh Vaheguru and it is completely realized. And at that stage, you reach the avastha of Sab Gobind hai, Gobind bin nahi koi. That apart from Gobind, Akal Purakh Vaheguru, Gobind is a description of Akal Purakh Vaheguru. Go means Prithvi, the whole world, the whole of creation. Bind, the one who made the whole of creation. And Sadhguru Sahib Ji says that once you get to that stage, you see Akal Purakh Vaheguru in everything. Just like Bhai Kanhaiya Ji did. They saw it in everything. And absolutely everything, they see Akal Purakh Vaheguru within creation. But to realize Akal Purakh Vaheguru in others, the fifth stage, I think, or fourth stage, was about realizing within yourself. You have to realize Akal Purakh Vaheguru through inner concentration before you can see Akal Purakh Vaheguru in all. If you just say, well, I see God in everyone, so that's why I do the things I do. You have to realize God within yourself, then you will truly see Akal Purakh Vaheguru in everyone and in all of creation. How great is a sant then, or the sangat of a sant? And in Sar Kotavali, which is one of those Katha Granths, there's descriptions of the Vadiyai of a Sant. And it says, Gir gir mein manak nahi, gaj gaj moti nahe, chandan tar ban ban nahi, sant na pur pur mahe. That gir gir mein manak nahi. Gir means mountain. And not in gir in loads of different mountains that you go to, mein manak nahi. There's not every mountain has manaks, which are like really expensive jewels. Only some mountains will have manaks. They're very rare to find. And people kind of, you may have seen where people they blow up bits of mountains to get certain things out. If you started doing that to every mountain, it's very rare that you will find manaks in there because they're very rare and very expensive. Gaj gaj moti nahe. Gaj means hathi. And not in every hathi, you can get some hathis that have the kind of a shape of a moti, which is again another jewel on their matha. But not every hathi has that. They're very, very expensive hathis. And not every hathi has that. Chandan tar ban ban nahi. Ban within forests. Chandar tar. There's not every ban, not every forest, every bit of wilderness has a sandalwood tree. That is very rare. And in the same way, santana pur pur mahe. There's not a sant in every puri, in every village, in every town, in every city, even you could go country. Sants are very few and far between. A true sant, and they don't just exist everywhere. But what is the sant like? In Sar Kitabli also says, Sant karane ver kahu, sabke hit me varte atahi. That a sant does not have ver with anyone. What's a true sign of a sant? They are nirvair because they become one with the Kalapurk Vaheguru, who is nirvair. So a sant has no ver with anybody, and they see everyone the same. Sabke hit me varte atahi. That everyone they see as the same. They treat everyone and see everyone as being equal. That is what a true sant is. So, what are the duties of a sant? What is the purpose? What do they come for? So the purpose we've done, how do they do that? What duties do they partake in? Bhai Kabir ji says, Kabir, seva ko doe pale, ek sant ek ram, ram jo data mukt ko sant japave naam. That we should do the seva of two in this world. One, Ram, Akal Purkh Vaheguru, Ramya Hoya Ram. The second, a sant. Why? Bhai Kabir says, Ram jo data mukt ko. That Ram is the data, is the giver of mukti, of liberation. That's why you should do their seva. And why should you do the seva of a sant? Sant japave naam. A sant is worthy of doing seva of because they japa naam. And what does Sadhguru Sahib Ji say about people who jap naam and japa naam? Jan Nanak Tood Manga tis Gur Sikh ki jo aap japa avar hai naam japave. Sadhguru Sahib Ji says they ask for the toodi, they ask for the charan tood, the dust of the feet of the sants who japanam themselves and japanam. Now another thing that we as a Qawm are hearing more of these days, that you shouldn't want charan toodi, that's just getting mitti and throwing it in your face, and that's just really silly because you get dirty. And people who look like me sit on stages say this now, that you shouldn't do Jodya Adi Seva because you get dirty and you get, putting charan tood on your mustak. There's no need for it. Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj was at Amritsar Sahib. Sangat came from Lahore. And the Sangat arrived and Satguru Sahib Ji was stood there. And as they came, they took off their Jodya and went in. And Satguru Sahib Ji did their Jodya Adi Seva. Themselves, Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj did. And they did that because Gursikhs had come from so far as a satkar from them. The next day, when they asked if they could do Maharaj's darshan, Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji said, Swer nu kar leo. They didn't realize still that was Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And then in the morning, when they went into the darbar, and they saw Satguru Sahib Ji sat on their Manji Sahib, on their throne, they realized that that's the same person who was doing our Jodya Adi Seva. If Satguru Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji feels the need to do Sangat Seva by a Jodya Adi Seva, who are we to say that we shouldn't do it? Charan Tood gives us so many blessings, and we should do Jodya Adi Seva because we don't know who is within that Sangat. And we should see all of Sangat as Guru Roop anyway. So as you're doing Jodya Adi Seva, it's like cleaning the Jode of the Guru, cleaning Jode of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. If someone, I think, personally, if someone's got any sharda at all, and someone brought them Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji's shoes, their jode, and said, clean these. If someone says no, that person has no sharda for Sikhi. They've got no Sikhi in them. I believe all of us would say yes, wouldn't we? If someone brought you Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji's jode and said, clean these, we would all do it. We should see the Sangat as Guru Saman. So cleaning the jode of the Sangat is the same as cleaning the jode of the Guru. And that's the bhavana we should have when we do that. And a lot of the traditional sevama that are talked about within Bani and Bhai Gurdasni and Vara as well, in terms of those old sevama that were given great mahanta, are slowly being lost from the Gurukar, especially stuff like Jode Adi Seva. And then technological advances. So that's people becoming too clever and condemning it. So their brain's becoming maybe a little bit too thick. And then you got technological advances whereby stuff like piecing atta, and it's described in Gurbani that if you see a true sant, that I would do chaur over them with my case, and I'd piece them atta and chakar them prasada. And piecing atta, where you'd get the grains of wheat and you'd put them into a hand chakki, which is kind of two bits of kind of pathar, and you grind it down like that, and that's how the atta was made. That was a mahan seva of the Gurukar. But obviously, because of technological advances, we just get a bora of atta, put a bit of water into it when we get it out, and just make the prasad. It's a lot easier, isn't it? And then at the same time doing pakka to the sangat, so getting a handheld fan and waving that over the sangat. That was also a mahan seva of the Gurukar, but again it's seen less and less. And I was speaking to a Mahapurush a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying that maybe that's why the quality, or they were saying that is why, maybe that is why the quality of Gursikhs is falling in terms of these kind of seva. Hatti seva, people don't want to do it anymore. People go to the Gurdwara, and I see this loads. People will go to a Gurdwara, they'll have a program, and they'll expect that the langar be ready, the people that they've called get served, and they think it's like a hotel service. Pratan Gursikhs to do a langar, and they say it's because the committee takes money, and we generally have a really negative thing of committees and that they take money off you for the langar. If anyone actually got involved in the committee, you'd realise how much money goes out of the Gurdwara in terms of expenditures. But on a separate note, in terms of Pratan Gursikhs, how would they do a langar? They'd have that sharda for days before the langar. They would go and buy the rust themselves. They would get the grains of atta and they'd piece the atta. They'd then go and personally invite all the people and call them. When the people would arrive for the langar, they would wash their feet on arrival. They'd sit them down. They'd wash their hands. And they would personally, the kind of, the system that we use here at camp in terms of going to the person who you're serving, rather than standing like you're at a canteen queue. Again, that's that sharda pavana, that the person that I'm going to feed, I want them to just sit there and enjoy the food, and I'm going to go out of my way physically to keep walking to them to give the prasada. And all of these things weren't just done for the sake of it in Guru Sahib's time. They could have had langar then by just everyone standing in a queue and someone serving it. They could have easily done that, but the reason all of these systems were in place is so Gursikhs can get the most laha out of absolutely every single thing in the Gurukar. So my point here, I know I've gone off on one a little bit because it's not quite linked to the talk, but is that seva of the Gurukar is mahan. And increasingly, and I'm talking to myself here because trust me, I don't do any seva, but I'm just kind of reflecting, and it just came into my mind that doing seva is mahan. And we really, all of us, every single one of us in here should try and do as much seva as we can. And even if that just starts with 5 minutes a day washing pande, going to the Gurdwara, cleaning the Gurdwara, anything you can, there's always something you can do at a Gurdwara. Just getting involved in doing the Sangat seva. And obviously that can start from today because we're at the camp, there's ample opportunities here. And I didn't say all of that just so that people wash dishes and that, because they've got the people anyway. Maharaj always sends seva that. I'm just saying, for your own pala, we should do seva. So Sadhguru Sahib says, the duty of a saint is to come and japa naam. And Sadhguru Sahib says that we should launch the charan tood of a Gursikh who japs naam themselves and japas naam to others. Sorry, I got to drink a little bit because I've got tonsillitis and it gets a bit difficult. So, Sant Gyani Kartar Singh, the embodiment of a true Khalsa. We're going to reflect on their Jeevan and hopefully be able to take things. And the things that I've said previously, you'll hopefully automatically make some connections between their Jeevan, and I will try point them out as I go through it. So, I'll just go through this. So, because I'm going to refer to them as the 13th Mukhi of Damdami Taksal. What is Damdami Taksal? It was founded in 1705 by Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji when they taught the correct pronunciations and meanings of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji to 48 Gursikhs at Damdama Sahib. And then after that, 48 of the Gursikhs were Videmukh. They didn't want to do anything else apart from staying that Anand, the kind of Sudbud of the Sarir had gone. And then 2 of those Gursikhs, Bhai Mani Singh and Baba Deep Singh, were told that Anand would never go, but they've got a duty, and the duty was pass those teachings on. Bhai Mani Singh was sent to Amritsar Sahib, where Sattu Ki Gali Ali Taksal is now, and then Baba Deep Singh was sent to Damdama Sahib to do that prachar and teach people, and that's where Damdami Taksal comes from. The name comes from the fact that it was Baba Deep Singh was sent to Damdama Sahib. So the childhood of Sant Gyani Kartar Singh, Maharaj says, that person who comes to this world and their owner is safal, meaning that their coming to this world is fruitful in terms of they join with the Kal Purakh Waheguru. Satguru Sahib Ji says even their mother is Tantajog. Their mother is worthy of praise and namaskar because their child has done such great things. They were born in 1932 to Mata Labkaur and Jathadar Chanda Singh at village Purane Pure. And the pind is now called Pure Kodne. It's just because in India sometimes, over different time periods, names of villages change. They had 6 brothers, 2 sisters, and their family was very much Gursikhi orientated, Gursikhi atmosphere. Now we may think, or we may question, well, how do we become a true Khalsa? The biggest thing I think that we can also try and do is have the atmosphere of Sangat at home. You sit with your family and you do some Simran. You sit with your family and you do Bart together. You sit with your family, and if you've got kids, especially young kids, that's how they will grow up to be a true Khalsa, is by getting them to do the things in a young age. So when they're young, even if, and in last night in the boys Q&A, in the Singh's Q&A, by Aman was saying, weren't you, about how it's kind of sitting and doing Bart together to develop those relationships. And even if you were saying the example of someone said to them, a family had a child and they were talking about whether to do Nityanem, and they said, oh, well, they don't understand it. From birth, have that atmosphere for the child that there's constantly Gurbani going on, let alone just Nityanem, as much as you can sana them from birth. And that's why part of the Janam Sanskar is that you sana the child, a child that's just been born, a whole Sahaj part. They don't understand it, but it has so much asar, you can't describe that on that child. So having that family orientation, and even from a young age, if they don't fully understand any language yet, tell them Sakya. And these days, there's so many good resources in terms of Sakya books and pustaks. And again, there's some on the stall, and it's not a plug to go and buy some, but if you were wondering where you can get them from. So you can get different books with kind of Sakya and with pictures and stuff. And just tell the kids Sakya, even if they're 1-2 years old and they don't understand it, just get them to sit down. Get them into those habits of what happens when you're in Sangat. That you sit, and even if a little child only sits for 5 minutes to start off with every day, it's something, isn't it? Because sometimes you can get people who are my age and they can't sit down for 5 minutes. If they can do that at 2 years old, it'll just develop over time, won't it? So give them that Sikya from an early age, and that's what Sant Gyani Kartar Singh had. So how do you become that true Khalsa? How do you get to that ultimate stage? Is maybe from a young age, you make sure that you are within that system. Obviously, you can't personally, because we're all older now, but we can make the best of the situation we're in, and we can make the best of the situation for our future generations if we are parents or if we do go on to have children. They quickly learnt their Nityanem Bani off by heart at a young age, and they took Amrit at the age of 16 from Jatha Pindra, from Sant Gyani Gurmat Singh's Jatha. And they were educated in Gurmat in the first stages in their village by Baba Bagga Singh, who was an elderly Gursikh who lived in their village. So the worldly education, This is why, another reason why it's really good to look at Sant Gyani Kartar Singh's Jeevan, because how much worldly education they had, and how people would sometimes say that and you get so much negativity around Sant and stuff like that. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. But if you look at Sant Gyani Kartar Singh, there's no reason to be karo kadde, because they went to government middle school in Kemkar in the 9th and 10th grade. They went to National High School in Pikkivind, and then after that they went and studied for FA at Khalsa College, Amritsar. And when they were studying at Khalsa College in Amritsar, every single day they'd go to Darbar Sahib first to do darshan. So they'd go to Darbar Sahib, do darshan, and then they'd go to college. And through the day of going to Darbar Sahib, doing darshan, going to college, then coming back, within that time period, as well as doing Sat Bani and Nitnem, they would do 25 Japji Sahibs, they do 25 Japji Sahibs on top. And on top of that, they'd also do Panj Granthi. And in Panj Granthi, you have Sukhmani Sahib, Asa Divar, Bhavan Akhni, Dakhani Onkar, Siddh Gosht, Shabad Hajare, and then you do another Japji Sahib, another Anand Sahib. All of these Baniya they would do every single day, without fail. So how do you become a true Khalsa? You have that love for Prema Bhakti. That is the biggest thing, and I'll keep stressing it. The main thing of Sikhi, everything else is an aid, and everything else has to be followed. But if you have everything else and you don't do the Prema Bhakti, then it's not going to give fruit or as much. Because the asal thing of everything, our rat, the kakars, everything, they are important. They're very, very important. And we can't do without them. But they are all there as an aid to do Bhakti. To make our Bhakti more efficient and effective, that's why we have everything else. But if we have everything else and we don't have that Prema Bhakti, there's no two ways about it. You won't become that pure Khalsa. And again, I'm reflecting to myself at the same time as I'm saying that. Because in Gurbani it says, Koho Kabir Jan Pehe Khalse Prem Bhagat Jeh Jani. Bhagat Kabir Ji says that true Khalsa is that person who has realized Prema Bhakti. And what is Prema Bhakti? It's having that love to recite the name of Akal Purkh. There's one thing that you do your Nitnem like me quickly in the morning, 20 minutes, and those of you that know me will know that it's nice and quick, get it done, and then you're done, you're free for the day. That's not Prema Bhakti. That's just doing it because you have to do it. It's almost as if it's a punishment, and you got to do it, so you do it. Prema Bhakti is that love that you spend 25 Japji Sahibs, Panj Granthi every single day, without fail. That's Prema Bhakti. That love to recite Bani, that love to read Bani, to take the ras. And like the Hukmran I was saying today, that once those Gurmukhs have even just a little tupka of that ras of Naam, they'll realize that everything else is false. And Sadhguru Sahib Ji, we pray to them that if we haven't experienced that yet, that we get that little experience. I know I'd love to have just a little bit of that experience of what Naam truly tastes like when you really immerse in it. And that's what they had. They had that Prema Bhakti, that love for Sadhguru Sahib Ji. And then they went on after university or college, as they call it in India, and they were married at the age of 18 to Bibi Naranjan Kaur, and they had 2 sons. The eldest is on the right-hand side of this picture of Sant Kartar Singh in the middle with the Teer. On the right-hand side, you got Bhai Amrik Singh Shaheed. And they were Shaheed in 1984. So the Bhai Amrik Singh that we see in pictures of Sant Gyani Jarnail Singh was the elder son of Sant Gyani Kartar Singh. And then on the left-hand side, you got Bhai Manjeet Singh, who's their younger son. They're still alive. They live in Amritsar. And then Sant Kartar Singh became a Patwari. A Patwari is quite a good job in India. It's kind of the person who is the revenue manager for people within the pendant. So they sort out like Jameen stuff, so buying and selling Jameen. And when you take your crops for harvest and stuff, they help you keep your accounts in check, as it were. And they did that duty at Muxar Sahib for 6 months. So Sant Kartar Singh was very much like us. If we think, well, I can't become a true Khalsa because I've got to go to work and I've got to study. They studied, they went to work, but they still didn't shaded the Sikhi. It's about putting that effort in. And like I said in the Gatha this morning, that when it comes to worldly things, we will always say that we shouldn't have any regrets. In terms of in education, try your hardest. Don't have any regrets when you leave. Teachers say it all the time, I know, because I say it to my students all the time, that don't have any regrets, and it's exam season at the moment. I'm more worried than them. That it's probably something to do with my teaching, that's why. But you say to them, don't you? And you would have heard it when you were at school, that don't have any regrets, do the best you can. Really try and push to be the best you can be. And we do the same in our work lives as well. Unless you're like me again and you just... but you try, don't you? You try your hardest. You don't have regrets in the things you do. And people say that all the time, and it's used to motivate people. But what about in our sikhi? Do we push ourselves in our sikhi to make sure we don't have any regrets? That if today I didn't do as much Nityanam as I wanted to, and that's why, look, going back to their Pachi Jabji Sahibs, some people say you shouldn't do Ginti. But the reason why we do Ginti is not out of them. The reason why we do Ginti is because it helps us with our mind. If you give your mind targets, we got to think practically. If you give it targets, you can try. You got something to meet. In the same way, if you're doing revision or anything worldly again, if you've got revision to do, you set yourselves targets, don't you? You might set up a revision timetable and say, on this day, I'm going to revise this for this many hours. You don't do that out of them because some Baba down the road told you. You do it because you've got to hit certain targets to reach where you want to get to. And to reach a Kalparak Waheguru, we've got to set ourselves up targets. And once we start hitting that target, we've got to raise the bar. And then raise the bar again. And we've got to do that with Sikhi just like we do with everything else. That's just practical steps of how to become one. And yes, once you get that ras of Gurbani, then there is no Ginti Menti. Because you really experienced that. But to get to that stage, we've got to try to keep ourselves in some kind of discipline and push ourselves. Otherwise, it's human nature to get lazy. And then we just kind of don't do it. So you've got to try and set yourselves parameters and kind of aims to hit. Then they joined the Jatha. So Bhagat Ujagar Singh, who was Sant Ji's Pua's son, introduces Sant Kartar Singh to Sant Gyani Gurbachan Singh. And the Jatha is invited to do Katha Pure Kone for 10 days, and this happened on 13 different occasions. So Sant Gyani Kartar Singh already knew Sant Gurbachan Singh quite well. They knew some of the Jatha Singhs. And when they came on one occasion to do a 10-day program, after that, Sant Kartar Singh joined the Jatha on a full-time basis. So they left their family behind. And obviously having two sons, they were married, but they left that because they wanted to do Gurmat Pratar. They wanted to do Seva full-time. And they left their job as well, and like we've heard, they had a good job. They weren't just that they were just sent out from home because the family couldn't look after them or anything like that. They had a very good job. Bhai Amrit Singh and Bhai Manjeet Singh, both their sons, very well educated. Bhai Amrit Singh was very well educated, had degrees, but he went on and he stood and he fought in 1984. And Sant Kartar Singh did the same. They had a good education, they had a good job, but they samarpated themselves to the Qawm. They gave their whole Jeevan for the Qawm. And what did they do in that time? So they did Seva within the Jatha. And they studied loads of Gurmat and texts. And some people claim or they put out false kind of propaganda that Sant Kartar Singh didn't have any Vidya. That they didn't know any kind of Gurmat Vidya in terms of Katha. Sant Kartar Singh had read all Vedanta Granths and they used to teach them all as well. But in their Katha, they gave the Sangat the medicine that they needed. They didn't start giving medicines that were not required. And that's why some people, out of jealousy, will say, oh, but they didn't know this and they didn't say that in their Katha. The reason why they didn't is because the Sant Kartar Singh was doing the duty of a Sant. The duty of a Sant is to give the medicine that is needed. And the medicine that was needed at that time in Punjab was not to quote loads of Gyan on stage. It was to get people to join with the Guru. That was what they did. And then they became the Gurvai, the Mukh Sevadar of Sant Gyani Gurbachan Singh. So that would mean they were kind of used to prepare their food, wash their clothes, read Gurbani, read loads of Gurbani to Santi on a daily basis, whether that be Nityanam Panjagranthi, sometimes reciting Sahaj parts over a certain amount of days, and Sant Gurbachan Singh would listen. As Sant Gurbachan Singh got older, they got Bamar and like one side of their body stopped working properly. And at that point, Sant Kartar Singh would do all of their, aid them in all of their daily kirya. Whether that be going to the bathroom, having a ishnan, absolutely everything. Sant Kartar Singh used to be with him. They built a very, very close relationship. And Sadhguru Sahib Ji says, Kasvati laiye parke hit chit lai, that a person is put up against a kasvati, a test, and everyone is tested within their Sikhi in some way, shape or form. Sant Kartar Singh was tested through those times when they were doing seva, and at times there would be days and weeks on end where they never really had any chance to rest. Now, we've been at this camp for 4 days now, and we're all probably getting quite tired. It's tiring, isn't it? Having a full... Paji's like, yeah, definitely. So, it does get tiring getting up at Amritville, and some of the things we're talking there, there's been absolutely massive efforts from all the campers to make it to Amritville, within that Amritville Divan, and some years there's the kind of same few faces and that's it. But this year there's been a lot of effort. A lot of people have got up in the morning and put in that extra effort to go to Sadhguru Sahib Ji in those early hours, and then doing that and then going, you have a bit of langar, and then all day you're sitting in talks. It gets tiring, doesn't it? In that same way, Sant Kartar Singh all day, every day doing the seva of the Jatha and doing seva with the Jatha, and then doing the seva of Sant Guru Bachan Singh. So in the morning, salaying him Nityanem, helping with the Gara. But one thing Sant Guru Bachan Singh didn't stop, even when their sareer was really tilla and one side wasn't working, they still used to do katha. They didn't shout katha at all. They'd always keep doing katha. Then Sant Kartar Singh would go with them. They'd do the part of the katha. Sometimes they'd do it. And there was another thing, I think his name was Bhai Chittar Singh. He was another one of the main parties in the recordings that you'll hear doing the part with Sant Guru Bachan Singh. And so they did that, and they never failed the test in terms of the test of their Sikhi through their seva. And in Gurbani it says, Kabir kasauti Ram ki jhootha tikhe na koi, Ram kasauti jo sah so sah jo mar jeevada hoye. That the test, the kasvati of Ram, jhootha tikhe na koi, no false person can take on that. Ram kasauti so sah jo mar jeevada hoye. Only that person who is a mar jeevada, who's given up their ichha to live and has fully smarpat themselves to the Qaum, only that person can take on this path. And that's why Sadhguru Sahib Ji says, Pehla maran kabool jeevan ki shad aas. Aur jo to prem khilne ka chao, sir tar tari gali meri aao. That if you want to play this game of love, if you want that love of prema bhakti, if you want that love of Sadhguru Sahib Ji, you have to give everything. You have to be willing to give your head. And until the day that and even if we've taken Amrit, I'm an Amritari, so I've said to the Panchbere, I would give my cease if the Qaum needed it. But I will only anyone will really truly start to feel Ananda of Sikhi is when they really don't just say it, but they mean it and they live it, and their life is lived in a way that the head is the Guru's. That everything you do is for Sadhguru Sahib Ji. And that at any time that the Qaum needs it, you are there for them. That's when the person has in their mind that this sareer is the Qaum's, whether that be physically fighting for the Qaum or whether it be doing the prachar in the way that Sant Kartar Singh goes on to do it, that this sareer is not mine anymore, it's Satguru Sahib Ji's. And if the sareer becomes Satguru Sahib Ji's, it does the prachar of Satguru Sahib Ji, it does the vadai of Satguru Sahib Ji, and everything that it does is for the pala of the Qaum. And in this day and age, you've got a lot of people who claim to be Sants, Mahapurush, they claim to be for the Qaum. Yes, they may do their prachar, but when the Qaum needs it, they don't make that stand. They're not fully smarpat to the Qaum. I'm not saying I am, but Sant Kartar Singh was. They were fully, everything they did, it was smarpat to the Qaum. We're going to come on to that a little bit later, a little bit more. There are massive seva that they did that was smarpat to the Qaum as the Mangaladi seva. So before we go on to what the Mangaladi seva is, what are Mangals? In Sri Guru Granth Sahib, there's 4 types of Mangals that come. So you got Ekko Onkar to Gur Prasad, which comes 33 times. You got Ekko Onkar Satanam Karta for Gur Prasad, which comes 9 times. Ekko Onkar Satanam Gur Prasad twice. And Ekko Onkar Sat Gur Prasad 524 times. So those are the 4 Mangals. Mangal is kind of like singing the praises of Akal Purakh Waheguru. And those come in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji loads of times at the start of Shabads or sections, parts of Guru Granth Sahib Ji at the start of rags and stuff. And Sadhguru Sahib Ji, when writing Bani, at Damdama Sahib, some of the Mangals came in some places, so some would come at the start of a Shabad, some would come after the Sir Lake, so after the kind of what rag and what Bani it is. Sometimes the Mangal would come afterwards. For example, Ram Kali Mahalla Tija Anand, Eko Ankar Satgur Prasad. So that's come after the Sir Lake. The Sir Lake, the title of that Bani is Ram Kali, which is the rag, Mahalla Tija, the third Guru, Anand. The name of the Bani is Anand Sahib. Then it's Eko Ankar Satgur Prasad. That's how Satguru Sahib Ji's put that. And what happened at that time was that members of the SGPC wanted to change the Mangals of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And this dispute went on for 13 years of which way the Mangals should be. SGPC, the Shromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee, said that all the Mangals should be at the front of every Sir Lake. So all the Mangals should go to the top. For example, Gaudi Sokamani Mahalla, Panjava Slok, Eko Ankar Satguru Prasad, they would say that Eko Ankar Satguru Prasad should come first because it's a Mangal and the Bani started, so you can't have a Mangal in that. But some parts of Gurbani are Mangal Roop anyway, because a Mangal is singing the Ustati. So a Mangal doesn't always have to come at the start, and they try to use logic, and they try to use systems to try to explain their argument that everything should be on one side, and it should all go one way. But Satguru Sahib Ji's Chakkar Chehn Arabara Najat Arapat Nehn Jeh. Satguru Sahib Ji has no Chakkar, no Chehn, they've got no form. At the same time, they've got no system. They're not within anything. Satguru Sahib Ji's Bani is Satantar because Akal Purakh Waheguru is Satantar. Akal Purakh Waheguru, like I said, is the creator. They haven't been created, so they're not part of the system. They are the creator. They're the one who made the system. So they're not adhering to any rules. So they tried to change the Mangals, and the dispute went on for many years. There's different examples there. So that's how Anand Sahib comes, and they wanted to move that Eko Ankar Satguru Prasad to the start of Anand Sahib. And these pictures are from the Damdama Sahib bead. And then Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Mangala Di Seva. There were meetings held at Amritsar, Kartarpur Sahib, Rada Sahib and Pinder Kala. And from these meetings it was decided that the Mangals would be kept as the same in the Damdami bead. And if you look at that picture, there's so many great Sant Mahapurush there. You got Sant Ishar Singh, you got Sant Gurbachan Singh, Sant Kartar Singh's there in the bottom corner. You can just see them there. There's many other Mahapurush that were involved in these meetings in deciding that. It was Sant Samaj was called and they all came together. And all those great Gursikhs decided that we have to keep it the same as what Satguru Sahib Ji put it. Why? Because Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji said, Jin pe adab na bani tara, janno so sikh nahi hamara. When their son Ram Rai verbally changed Gurbani, one word of Gurbani was changed verbally, and they said, do not come towards me, go whichever way you are facing. So if we start to alter where certain things are in Gurbani, that is wrong because we're not the Guru. So the decision was made to keep them the same. And the reason why this was going on was because they were going to print loads of sroops. And the SGPC had made the printing blocks the way that they wanted them. And then the seva was given to Sant Gurbachan Singh, and then they gave the Jummewadi to Sant Kartar Singh. So Sant Kartar Singh, along with Bhai Kartar Singh Ji Premi Ji, which is another Singh that was in the Jatha, whose name was Kartar Singh or Premi Ji, Bhagat Jaswant Singh Ji, who are a lot of people know them as Bhagat Ji, they're still alive. They live a lot of the time in Canada or in India. They've got a really good website called gursevak.com. It's really good to go, and it's got Santa and stuff on it that you can listen to. Then Bhai Darnal Singh wrote Bhai Paramjit Singh Ji Mahalpur, and they began the seva. They faced so many obstacles during that seva. That seva was so difficult to do, but Sant Kartar Singh had already smarpat themselves to the Qaum. So to do this seva for the Satkar of Gurbani, they gave their day and night, and they got the blocks. They wouldn't give the chabiyan to them. They wouldn't give the Singhs the actual blocks so they could change them. And then eventually they got the blocks, they changed them. Then they did the sword of all the sroops. They did the sword of the printing blocks. They got them ready, and then the correct sroops of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji were printed. Then, on being happy and getting the cushion out of all of this, the seva that they did, they received the star of Damdami Tiksal at Patna Sahib at the 10th of Salah, during the 10th of Salah celebrations of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji's Avtar Purb. Obviously this year we manad the 350 years. The 300 years was manad also at Patna Sahib, and they got the star bandi then. And the They said 15 minutes left. We're not finishing in 15 minutes. I hope you don't mind. I'll try. I'm not going to jaan ke, but I don't think I'll get through it. So Sant Kartar Singh was given the Starbandi at Patna Sahib, and that comes in the recordings in Bhagat Farid Ji's sloks in Sant Gurbach Singh's Katha, where they say that the next Jathadar is going to be Sant Kartar Singh, and they were given that. And when Sant Kartar Singh was given the Jummewari, they were given... Sorry, I do apologise, just my mouth really dries out. They were told that... they were told some things to do, and they were told, see all the Sangat as Guru's Roop, and that's what I was talking about earlier, really seeing the Sangat as Guruji. So if Guruji was sat in the Langar hall today at lunchtime, in their physical form, how many would go running? I know I'm one of them that if there's like a photo opportunity, a little bit of a riaya out of it, then I'll really run to do the seva. If not, you would have noticed all camp, I've not vartad one prasada because, it doesn't really matter. But if Guru Sahib Ji was there themselves, we'd all go running to do the seva, wouldn't we? But we don't realise that a true Gursikh Pyara would see that Sangat is Guruji Sangat, that is Guruji themselves. And they will go to do the seva, and they will chalke go, and they'll be there on time, they'll do the seva of the Sangat. And the only way we get that Sharda Pavana is just trying to do it and pushing your mind that I'm doing the seva of Satguru Sahib Ji, not thinking I'm doing the seva of a person, I'm doing the seva of the Sangat. I'm doing the seva of Guruji. And Sant Gurbach Singh gave that teaching to Sant Kartar Singh. They said, don't keep any Singh in the Jatha who doesn't follow Maryada. So they gave an importance of following Maryada, that anyone that commits kind of grets and does the wrong things. And the Jatha at the time had really, really strict gret. And when I was planning this talk, I was thinking about going through some of Khalsa Jivan, but then I decided not to. But within Khalsa Jivan, it's got a part that says Jatha the name of what at that time the Jatha used to do. And people are very quick to insult any institution where Singh stay, and it's like what the negative connotation of Dera. Dera literally means where you're staying. So back in the day, as the Khalsa used to move Chakravarti, everywhere they stopped, that would be the Dera for the night. Ithe Dere Lalo. We hear that in Punjabi, don't we? Ithe Dere Lalo Mange. That means we'll stay here tonight. And part of the name of the Jathe, what the Jatha used to do, every Singh that stayed in the Jatha had to do 25 Japji Sahib or equivalent every day. Equivalent meaning you either do 25 Japji Sahib, or you do Panj Granthi, or you can do 30 Male of Mool Mantra, and there's an amount of Gur Mantra, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but you do that much Nitnem on top of your Satabaniya. On top of that, you have 2 hour seva duty every day. On top of that, you have to learn Santhya, and then Katha or Kirtan. You have to be doing something. You can't just waste time. Every Singh has to get up at Amrit Vela, and you have to go to the Amrit Vela Divan. You have to listen to the Katha Kirtan. Then you have to go to the evening Divan. You have to listen to the Katha Kirtan then. So it's easy to say, well, literally, if you're living in the Jatha, you're probably spending, on average, at least, just in the Darbar Sahib, about 6-7 hours in a chankra sat in Guru Sahib Ji's Hajuri. On top of that, you do your Santhya. And when you do Santhya, then in the Jatha, at the times of Sant Gurbach Singh, Sant Kartar Singh, if you do one ang of Santhya, so if you do one ang of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Santhya, you have to read that 25 times. So that's like reading 25 angs of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And that in itself can take, if someone who's just learning, will take you over an hour. And in one day, you might do 2 or 3 angs. So that's 50, 75 angs of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji that you've got to sit and practice and make sure you get it right. Then you go to Katha class, you've got to do a bias of that. And on top of that, you've got to do your normal things like wash your clothes, because your mum's not there with a washing machine to just bang it in and then iron your chola and put it in your bed again. So you've got to do all the kind of household things that we probably just take for granted. And that is the kamai that Sant Kartar Singh did. And then they'd get the others to do. Why? Because the system is put in place to make the people. Taksal means, is if you take it to mean like a chatsal, where you get a coin and you cut a coin like it says in Japji Sahib, and you get a coin and you really just mold that coin out. That is why these systems that Rayat is put in place, that Sangat twice a day is so paramount. And again, this is another thing that is going all over. I know I personally don't do it, but it's just something that we should still reflect on it, that going to the Gurdwara twice a day, even when we take Amrit, Panj Pyare say that 2 times darshan karna chahida, if not at least definitely once, you should do Satguru Sahib's darshan and go and meet with the Sangat. Twice a day, Sangat. Why? Because Sangat, you get so many qualities of a Gursikh in Sangat, and your Sikhi will accelerate. And if you try this practice practically, I 100% guarantee your Sikhi will accelerate very quickly. If you go to Sangat and listen to Katha, Kirtan, Path, whatever's going on a daily basis and make it a name, and doing it for 3 days and then expecting to become a Brahmgyani is not how it works. You've got to persistently do it for years, and that builds that love. Because again, if Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji, in the form when they were in this physical world, they are still there in the form of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but our Akkha, this parda of Maya doesn't allow us to see that. Imagine if Kalgitar Pacha was sat there with their horse on that manji in your local Gurdwara, wherever you go, just imagine that. Would you go every day? We'd probably even think, I'll leave work, everything, I'm going to stay there. I'm going to stay with them. Sadhguru Sahib is not asking us to do that. They tell us to do kirt. But do we have that Sharda Bhavna? Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji sat at the Gurdwara. I need to go and meet them today at least. If you're like me, you might even drive past the Gurdwara on the way to work and think, Chalo, I might be late for work. That is where you get that Sharda Bhavna. And that Sharda Bhavna was instilled within the Jatha. And that's why they said, don't keep anyone who doesn't keep Maryada. Always see yourself lower than the Sangat, because the Sangat is Guru and you are lower than the Sangat, because they are the Guru and you're lower than the Guru. Never have pride. Teach anyone who comes to learn. That's a teaching for us. Anything, any qualities that we can pass on, any bit of Sikhi we can pass on. You're all at this camp. Hopefully you will learn at least 1 or 2 things at camp. Go home and pass them on to other people. There'll be other people within your family that are not as privileged as you to know that. Pass it on. And we'll come on to later how much of a duty they thought it was for them to constantly do prachar. Always keep at least 2 things with you day and night. That Guru Sahib is always angsang, and never ask for money. Any money that you get, spend it on the Sangat. June 28th, 1969, Sant Gurbatan Singh departs from the world. That's a picture on the left of Sant Gurbatan Singh on the Manja. That is Sant Kartar Singh there. And then on the right is when them getting them the Star Bandi. So, Sant Kartar Singh built a Gurdwara at Mehta Pind, Mehta Chowk, where the reason why they built it there is because that's where Sant Gurbatan Singh passed away. They bought the bit of land, the area where they passed away in like a little kotiya thing, like on, you know, like in the Kate, you have like little hut things, houses in there, and they bought that. And then they made that Gurdwara Sahib, and Hathi, they did seva of making that Gurdwara. They didn't sit on a manja somewhere with a pakka next to them, and just watch people do it. Hathi, there's so many pictures of Sant Kartar Singh themselves doing the seva at Mehta, making the Gurdwara Sahib, and they made it in such a short space of time in terms of what was available to them in terms of resources. They got the whole Jatha Singhs to stay there and make the Gurdwara Sahib with the mystery that were there at the time. And then they travelled village to village doing prachar, doing katha on a bike, on a push bike. These days, if you ask a Sant to sit in a car, the fake ones I'm talking about here, to sit in a car that's less than like £40,000, they'll be like, nah, hor gaddi leo. And Sant Kartar Singh, on a bike, on a push bike, themselves would go pind to do prachar. And these aren't made up galla. My ustad told me that they used to see Sant Kartar Singh on a bike. The Jatha would be tearing in one pind. Sant Kartar Singh would do the katha there, jump on the bike, go to the next pind. And it wasn't because they called them, because they had that chah, that prem to do the katha of Guru Sahib Ji. They themselves would take it upon themselves that is their duty to spread the message. In the same way, we should take it as whatever we know of Sikhi is our duty to spread the message. We don't have to think, we just shouldn't think that when I'm 100% complete, then I'll pass on the message. Everyone could share something with someone. And in doing that, you are doing a seva. So you're furthering your Sikhi as well as helping someone else. That's the kind of parakpakar a Gursikh should do. They started to preach against the Narkatari cult. They were the first ones to speak out against them. And they, in 1978, we know how the Tera Singhs, Bhai Fauja Singh, and the other Singhs went to go and stop the Narkataris doing Beadabi of Satguru Sahib Ji during they were cutting a jalus during the Vaisakhi celebrations on 13th of April 1978, and the 13 Singhs were Shaheed. Sant Kartar Singh started that pratar against them. And then they formed 5 Jathe. The 5 Jathe, each Jathe had 1 Gyani Singh, someone who could do katha, Kirtani Jatha, and a Panj Pyare Jatha. And the reason for that, because you got katha, Kirtan, and Amrit Sanchar there. And they'd go pend to pend, each jatha, different areas, Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, they'd go all over India, and they did prachar, and they got people onto the path of Sikhi. And then within that day, when they used to go on their bike or they'd go on whatever sadhana they had, they would do 8 or 9 kathas every single day. We're on day 4 of camp now. This is the 5th time I've done this talk, and I feel absolutely knackered. I've done it, this is the 5th time in 3 days, and I don't think I don't know how I'm going to do the next one. I'm thinking that myself. Imagine how they did 8 to 9 kathas every single day. Whenever I say that, it still amazes me. I've said that so many, I've known that for so many years, but every time I think about it, it amazes me how they did 9 kathas in one day. Doing katha is like, you take so much concentration and so much kind of mind energy and physical energy that they used to do 9 a day. It's still, I just get amazed every time I hear that. But again, it's that prachar, that the sareer is the qawms. That their sareer is the qawm. They smarpat it to the qawm, and that's it. It's for the qawm. So it doesn't matter what happens to the sareer. What matters is the pala of the qawm. And they said, this is a bachan of Sant Gyani Kartar Singh in terms of their view on prachar. They said, Singho, ਸਰੀਰਾ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੱਜ ਰੱਜ ਕੇ ਕੌਮ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ 10ਵੇਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨਾਲ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਜਨਮ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ 100 ਕੇ ਰਾਤਾਂ ਲੰਘਾ ਦਈਏ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ. So they're saying that we don't know about our sareer, we don't know how long our body is going to stay. We've been lucky enough to be born in the house of a family of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji. This is what Sant Kartar Singh is saying to the Jatha, that we should raj as much as possible do prachar, because we don't know when our body is going to come to an end. And we will reflect on how Sant Kartar Singh passed away in a young Umar. They were in their 40s, which is nothing, is it, to die in your 40s? We would say that's young. But they used to say that they don't know about how long this sareer is going to be here. So whilst it's here, they're going to rajke do qawm di seva and rajke do the right thing and be that true Khalsa. And that's what they did. Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa Pindrawale, in one of their speeches, or in their katha, say that one day Sant Kartar Singh said to them when they started to do prachar, they said, ek gal yaad rakhi, that prachar kardiyan, prachar is tarah karna, vi ek hath de vich sees hove, that duje hath de vich khanda hove, that duniya de koi parwah nahi karna, who says what, that you dat ke do gurbat prachar, not being scared of anyone, not being scared of touching controversial issues, not being scared of people doing ninda. You do the right prachar, Guruji's prachar, and you do it with your cease held in your hand, meaning you smarpat everything to it, and where the need be's, you also have that khanda. That if the time comes and you need to khadka the khanda, you do that as well. And Sant Jarnail Singh took that teaching and they fully implemented it. And we can see that in what happens from when Sant Jarnail Singh becomes the mukhi. From the first day, continuing all the way through, they command that bachan of Sant Kartar Singh. In India, 1975 to 1977, there was a state of emergency. Indira Gandhi called a state of emergency. People weren't allowed to gather in public places. And what was happening was there was... most of Gandhi's political opponents were imprisoned, so it was kind of a rule through tyranny and power. And Sanjay Gandhi spearheaded a mass sterilization campaign in India to control population, whereby they were, well, you can take what it means, they were sterilizing the population so they couldn't have children anymore, to control population growth at that time. How much julam is that? Yeah, so within that, the poor, as Baju said, just killing greebs because in their eyes, they didn't matter. So a way to control the population, either kill people or sterilize them so they can't have any more children or can't have any children at all. At that time, out of all the Sant Mahapurush within the Qawm at that time, and I'm not doing ninda of anyone, I'm just stating a fact, Sant Kartar Singh was the only one that made a stand. He was the only one that spoke out and said, we will not accept this as a Qawm. And the reason for that is when this sterilization was going on, the person Sikhi was also being cut away with it because their Beadbi would happen of their Rome during these operations. I'm going to play a quick clip of Sant Kartar Singh saying how they didn't just speak about this when the emergency was off. When the emergency was at its height and they describe it as its Jawani, they stood out and made a stand. It's only about a minute and a half. I'll play the clip and then I'll just very quickly summarize it in English, sorry.
ਦੀਵਾਲੀ ਵਾਲੀ ਰਾਤ 2 ਲੱਖ ਦੇ ਇਕੱਠ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਾਬਾ ਬੁੱਢਾ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਭੀੜ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਜੋ ਖਾਲਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਰਕ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਸੁਨਤਾਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਸਖਤ ਵਿਰੋਧ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ। ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੀਸਾ ਤੇ DIR ਜੋ ਲਾਉਣੀ ਹੈ ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਲਾਓ, ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਕੌਮ ਨੂੰ ਪਗੜ ਕੇ ਹਿੰਜਣੇ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਬਿਨਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਾਮ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤੀ ਪਗੜ ਕੇ ਨਸਬੰਦੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਸਖਤ ਵਿਰੋਧੀ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਰੋਮਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੇਅਦਬੀ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਡੀ ਭਾਰੀ ਵਜਰ ਕੁਰਤ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਪਤਤ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਮੁਕਤ ਛਕਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ, ਪ੍ਰਖਾਲ ਹੋਣੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਜੋ ਅਤਿਆਚਾਰ ਤੇ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਸਖਤ ਵਿਰੋਧ ਹਾਂ। ਉਸ ਮੌਕੇ ਤੇ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਾਰੇ ਬੁਲਾਏ ਸਨ, ਬਹੁਤ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਨੁਮਾਨ ਲਾਏ। ਯਾਰਾ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਸੀ, ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅੱਗੇ ਭਾਈ ਠਾਕਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੱਥੇ ਦਾ ਜਥੇਦਾਰ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਚੱਲਾਂਗਾ ਹੱਥਕੜੀ ਲਵਾ ਕੇ, ਪ੍ਰਤੱਖ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਸੀ। ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਜਦੋਂ ਕੌਮ ਤੇ ਵਿਪਤਾ ਪਾਈ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜੇ ਉਸ ਮੌਕੇ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ, ਜੇ ਕੌਮ ਦੀ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ, ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਗੂ, ਲੀਡਰ, ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰਕ, ਮਹਾਤਮਾ, ਸੰਤ ਕਹਾਉਣਾ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਬੜਾ ਭਾਰੀ ਤੇ ਮਾੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਅੰਦਰ ਲੋਕ ਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਉਹੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ, ਅੱਜ ਮਤਲਬ ਕੋਈ ਖਿਆਲ ਕਰੇ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਤੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਆ ਗਈਆਂ ਨੇ, ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਕਿ 6 ਵਜੇ ਅੱਜ ਐਮਰਜੈਂਸੀ ਟੁੱਟ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਨਹੀਂ, ਜਦੋਂ ਐਮਰਜੈਂਸੀ ਜੋਬਨ ਤੇ ਬੜੀ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਤੇ ਸੀ, ਉਸ ਮੌਕੇ 22 ਅੱਸੂ ਵਾਲਾ ਦਿਨ ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ
So they're just going to describe at what points they said certain things. But the key kind of points from that, they say that they made that stand because when there's a bipta, a bead on the qawm, if someone calls themselves an agu, a leader, a sant, a mahapurush, and they don't speak out against that, that person may well just sit at home. There's no point in calling yourself that. And if we think in this modern age, that every single day, nearly every day, you get a WhatsApp message with a picture and a description of how Sadhguru Sahibji's Angs or Gutka Sahib's Angs Gurbani every day is being destroyed. In Punjab, in our homeland, where we have man to say that a Guru Adi Tartiya, that Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahibji gave their cease for the people of India, and in that Tarti, every single day, there's Gutka Sahibs being ripped up and thrown on the streets. And we've seen now a couple of occasions in Western countries as well where Beadbi has happened. And it's so bad that we've become immune to it as a qawm. And I think one of the karans of becoming immune to it is because no pratarak cares. These so-called sants these days, they're just happy doing their own thing. Yeah, it's good they do pratar, the shaka amrit, but who's going to make the stand? And it happens one-off, someone will do something and they'll snar that for the rest of their life now that I went to that one Beadbi. You might have gone to one, but what about the ones that happen every day? It's the same guru. It's all right, everyone turning up to one and making that into an issue. Who's going to go to every single one? And the Singhs that go to that on a constant basis, when you speak to them, sometimes they don't even have money to put petrol in their cars. But they still try to land at every place where there's Beadbi and do what they can. And sometimes they get the people, sometimes they don't. And that's just life, isn't it? But they're doing something. How many pracharaks are there out in there? This qawm, I don't see much of a bigger biptak that could be on the qawm at this time, apart from our guru, who is supposed to be our father, our mother, our everything, and their angs are rolling around in the streets of Punjab. What more are we waiting for before people are going to speak out? And that's just me. I might have gone a little bit over on that, but it's my personal vichar on that. And Sant Kartar Singh says that when there's a bipta on the qawm, if you're going to not speak for the chardi kala of the qawm, you might as well just leave it and just sit at home. What's the point? And this is something that we hope, and we can only pray to Sadhguru Sahibji that we get people in the qawm like that will stand up and speak and stand drid karke. Another time, so during the emergency state in Punjab, in India, and it wasn't just in Punjab, these Nagar Kirtans went outside of Punjab. There were 37 Nagar Kirtans Sant Kartar Singh did during a state of emergency. When public gatherings were banned, Sant Kartar Singh did 37 Nagar Kirtans, and during those Nagar Kirtans, there's a picture of Sant Kartar Singh there on top of that manji on the bus that had Guru Sahibji's Swaroop in it. Sant Kartar Singh said, and the Singhs who stayed with them, so it's not said as if it's like some mythological thing. The Singhs used to be with them and they'd do Chaur Sahib over Guru Sahibji's Swaroop for 18 hours a day. And from standing there whilst doing Chaur Sahib, being next to Guru Sahibji, they would deliver their speeches. And during the Nagar Kirtans, the one Nara, the one Tarna that Sant Kartar Singh used to read all the time is Sir Jave Ta Jave, Mera Sikhi Sidak Na Jave. That if my head goes, it goes. If this physical body is killed, it's killed. But my Sikhi Sidak, may that never leave me. That parosa for Sikhi, that love, that pyar for Satguru Sahib Ji, may that never go. And we can only pray to Satguru Sahib Ji that we get that Sidak, that we may be cut limb by limb. Our children may be cut piece by piece in front of our own eyes and put round our neck. But we are still able to say that the day has passed in your parna. It has been a good day in your will. This day, someone like me, if I have a bad day at work, I think, Satguru Sahib Ji, why did you do that to me? I've had a really rubbish day. We had mothers of our Qawm have their children put round their neck. And that Sikhi Sidak didn't waver. Bhai Taru Singh had his khopri taken off, but he didn't do Kesadi Beadabi. Bhai Mani Singh was cut piece by piece. And there's so many shaheeds we could talk about. Bhai Mati Das Ji, sawn in half, but that Sikhi Sidak didn't go. And that was the purpose of Sant Kartar Singh doing this prachar. What medicine were they giving as well as Japaying Naam? They were giving the medicine of Dridta in Sikhi, that Sikhi Sidak, that from until your last breath, and we say it in Dardas all the time, Sikhi Kesa Swasa Nal Nib Jave, that our Sikhi, our good Sikhi, stays with us for all of our swas, our case stay intact until we die. And me personally, I think if we can achieve that much in this life, that is more than enough in this lifetime. That Sikhi Kesa Swasa Nal Nib Jave, me personally, for me, that is all I can ask for. And if we all can get to that, I'm not saying I can do it, but that's why I ask for Guruji. And if we all ask for that, then we will get that Sikhi Sidak, that Dridta, that Sant Kartar Singh was banding out as that medicine, if we want to use that metaphor from earlier. And then at the 10th of Salah, Shaheedi Purab of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, there's big celebrations in Delhi. And I think it was at Bal Leela in the grounds there. I think that's what it's called. And there was a massive pandal. And in that pandal, there was obviously Satguru Sahib Ji Swaroop Prakash, and there was Gatha Kirtan going on. On the stage, there was political leaders and there was Dharmik Agus. Indira Gandhi turned up, and showing her respect, all the leaders stood up on stage. The only one person who stayed sat down was Sant Kartar Singh. Only one. And the rest of them were doing what in Punjabi you call chamchagiri. And they all stood up to do that chamchagiri, and no one made the stand for Satguru Sahib Ji. No one respected the adab of Guru Sahib Ji, because in Guruji's huzuri we don't stand up for nobody, because we all sit on the same level, because Guru Sahib Ji is the King of Kings. Just like in a court, you only stand up when the judge comes in. If the report writer comes in halfway through, or one of the ushers comes in, you don't stand up, do you? You only stand up for the judge. When the judge comes in, you stand up. And when they leave, and I'm not saying Guru Sahib is a judge, I'm just saying they're the most important person in that darbar. They're the most important person in the whole of existence, let alone in the darbar. And they all stood up for Indira Gandhi. Sant Kartar Singh stayed, sat down. That day they delivered 2.5-minute speech in front of Indira Gandhi, and they snarled so many agalla. They said that the lok of India have become a kirtakan. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji gave their Shahidi, the Gursikhs gave their Shahidi, so the Hindus can wear the Janeu. Those same people, the ancestors of those Hindus, are now cutting away the Sikhi of the Gursikhs by making them cut their gaze through the Beadabi, through the sterilization. They're cutting away Sikhi. And Sant Kartar Singh said that day that we will not stand for it. And from that day on, Indira Gandhi had in her eyes Damdami Taksal and the Singhs from Punjab, that I need to do something about them, because they were the only ones in the whole of India that would say it to her face. And we might think, oh, I'd do that, and we sometimes get really pumped that I'm a really, I'd go for it. At the Mocha, not many do. Only that person who has true prosa, true sharda, that has kamar the bachans of Satguru Sahib Ji can stand at that time. There were many others there, but they didn't make a stand. They were all thanking her. Thank you very much for giving your Qimati time to come to us. What Qimati time? She's come to the King of Kings. She should be thanking the Khalsa that they've allowed her to attend. And that's what Sant Kartar Singh did. No one else that day did anything of the sort. Sant Kartar Singh made the stand that day as well. And that is what a true Sant is. Like I said at the start, they speak the truth. They make the stand. That is what a true Khalsa is. So if you want to implement being a Khalsa, you've got to make that stand. You've got to, when the Qawm needs it, you've got to be ready. Sareer karke, to give your sareer. And I'm not saying we all have to go and give shahidi, because not everyone has written for that. But sareer karke, we can do seva. We can give our sareer by doing prachar. We can give our sareer, if needed, by giving that shahidi. And only way we can do that is if we have Sikhi Siddiq. We don't know in which way Satguru Sahib Ji is going to take seva. And some people have different itcha to do it in different ways. But the only way that that will become fruitful is if you have Sikhi Siddiq. And Sant Kartar Singh had that in abundance. I'm going to have to skip through that because I'm going to really get told off to won't give me a talk next year. So, I'm not really bothered, it's better when I don't. So, they passed away on August 16th, 1977. On the 9th of August, Sant Kartar Singh was going on a car journey. They were sat in the front seat of the car, and another Gursikh actually sat in that seat. And Sant Kartar Singh was going to sit in the front, and the Singh that was going to sit in the front, I've forgotten his name now. Sant Kartar Singh was going to sit in front, the Singh was going to sit in the back. Sant Kartar Singh sat him in the front, sat in the back themselves and said, Tere haje bacche chote ya. And he didn't get it. He was like, what's going on here? Sant Kartar Singh sat in the back. And that, why? Because Sant Kartar Singh is that doctor in the prison. They're free from karam. So they can leave the prison whenever they want. And they gave the medicine that the Qawm, never, let alone one or two people, they gave the message, the medicine that the Qawm needed. And everyone says, Sant Jarnail Singh ne sutti Qawm jagai. Yes. But who actually woke him up? If you want to use that analogy, Sant Kartar Singh woke him up, Sant Jarnail Singh dragged him out of bed. If you want to use the analogy of Sutti Qawm Jagai, Sant Kartar Singh Bajad the kind of woke everyone up, and then Sant Jarnail Singh got him out of bed and got him doing action. And Sant Kartar Singh came, they delivered that medicine for the time that was needed, and then they left the world. On the 15th of August, their heart stopped beating for, I can't remember how many minutes now, I think it was like 6 or 9 minutes around that time. And all the things thought that they left. But again, they came back, they continued breathing over that time. And when the accident happened, the main point, I forgot, Sant Kartar Singh had 4 or 5 ribs on one side of their body when the impact into a tree of the car, and their ribs broke. They snapped their ribs, and one of their ribs punctured their lung. And when it punctured their lung, the doctor said that we can operate on you and we can straighten it out and you will be able to survive. There's a good chance of survival. And Sant Kartar Singh, through Ashari, they weren't fully speaking, obviously through the injuries, said that would they have to cut my rome? Would they have to cut the case? Any one hair is a rome. Would they have to cut the rome? And clearly they would if you're going to operate, because you have to cut it open to operate. And they said, the Singh said to Santji, and some of the Singhs that were there have told me themselves, they said, Santji asked, we said, yeah, they'll have to cut your rome. And Santji did one ashara, they didn't say anything. They said, Ton, lado, like that. They put their hand across their neck and said, take my head, but don't take any rome of mine. Because if they stood and we heard that sound clip where they said that someone who takes any of their rome off is patat from Sikhi, they didn't want to be Bemuk. And they could have done the operation and then done Sadai. There's nothing wrong with that. They could have done that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have operations. They could have taken the operation and then done Sadai. But for them to be patat from the Guru even for a second, that was that Sikhi Siddiq. That if they did the prachar and in all of their nagar kirtan, they said, Sir jave ta jave, mera Sikhi Siddiq na jave. They had that Sikhi Siddiq that they would not be patat for even a small time period. And then after that, Sant Jarnail Singh became the Mukhi of Damdami Tiksal, and their video the whole world knows. So I'm going to finish there because we have run over. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.